Hey guys, Tommy here, the Tommy Borg, with a review of the Lightning connector to USB. So this video is just a review, and of course we're gonna compare it to some other cables. So let's start it off. So the first thing I noticed about this connector that how small it is versus Apple's outdated 30-pin connector. Now this connector was originally released in 2012 along with the iPhone 5, the iPod Touch 5th generation, and the iPod Nano 7th generation, and of course the iPad Mini. So this connector is small, it's all digital, no more analog, and it's reversible. The one thing I like about this cable that it's reversible. So you can install it in any way, it doesn't matter, in this direction or this direction, and I will show you that in a few minutes. So this cable was from Apple, and my impressions say I like this cable, I like the fact that it's reversible, and I do have to say it's almost a unibody. It's almost a unibody connector because the 30-pin connector, it had a little bit of plastic on it on the sides, and I will show you a comparison that in a few minutes with my cable. So this connector is all small, and now let me show you what I mean by this reversible. So here I have my 5th generation iPod Touch, and now I'm gonna bring the connector close to the camera, and I'm gonna install it. So there you go. It snaps in really good. It's very strong. And you don't have to be too worried about pulling this out too easily, just like the old 30-pin connector. And if I now turn it from this direction to this direction, watch. It still goes in, no matter what direction. So I can install this connector like that, and again, like this, and it snaps in perfectly. So I really like that feature. Now let's go ahead and compare it to the old 30-pin connector. So I have my 30-pin connector here, and you could just see how small this connector is. It's 80% smaller, Apple said in its keynotes. And if we look from this profile, it's much smaller. It's almost it's not as thin, although it is thin. It's just smaller because this was bigger. This was bigger on the day they debuted the dock connector. So this was a little bit junkier, and I didn't like this connector a lot. Now this 30-pin connector isn't reversible. So to demonstrate that, I'm just gonna use my iPhone 4 here. So if I install it this way, you see it fits. But now if I try the other way, watch. I'm applying a lot of pressure, and it's just not going in. It's just not going in. It's not reversible. So as you can see at the bottom, I don't know if you can really see it because this is the black version, but if you can't, it's okay, because I understand. So this 30-pin connector isn't reversible. It only goes in one way. So of course Apple debuted this cable with the 3rd generation iPod Classic, or at the time they called it just the iPod, in 2003. And they also debuted a universal dock with the 30-pin cable connected to it. So my impressions say that I really don't like this cable a lot because it's not reversible. And the reason why, there's another thing I don't like this cable, because it has these friction footings on the side, which can get caught in the device. It's kind of the same thing like micro USB, and I will compare that to the Lightning connector. So just to show you, I had this problem a lot of times with my iPhone 4, so if I connect it, and sometimes when I'm tired, I just want to take it out. Sometimes I have a tendency to just pull it from the cord, but most of the time I just pull it from the side, and then I wonder, why isn't it coming out? And I see that one side is coming out, but it's like I jammed it in there, and it is hard to get out. So I'm trying to get it out. I'm not trying to apply too much pressure because I don't want it to break, and it just isn't coming out. So I have to be careful with it sometimes. And I was trying to be a little careful with this connector because this connector was a little easy to come out. So let's say you drop your device and all of a sudden it just comes out, and then sometimes you feel like you just broke the connector, it doesn't work. And I didn't really like that. This connector is all unibody. So most of the times I'm not worried about this connector coming out because it doesn't have these friction fittings. If you look closely, one sec, let's see if we can try to get the exposure. Let's see. So if you look closely, you can see that there's a little gasket in there, and that's how the device snaps in. It doesn't use friction fittings. It doesn't use friction fittings on the side like the 30-pin connector does. It basically just uses these little gaskets on the side. One on this side and one on the other side. So I really like that. I wasn't a big fan of this cable, by the way. Now let's go ahead and compare Lightning to micro USB. So here I have micro USB, and if we put it next to Lightning, all these store names, if we put it next to Lightning, you can see it almost looks similar. This connector almost looks like it's unibody, but if you look on the side, you see those friction fittings, and they can get caught. They can get caught in the device sometimes, and I didn't really like that. Now I actually don't have a device to connect it. I actually bought this cable. For just my digital cameras and stuff. So I really wasn't a big fan of micro USB as well, because they had those friction fittings. Sometimes they could get snapped. Same thing like with the 30-pin connector. So as you see here, it has it on this side and this side. Here with micro USB, it has it right there. It has it right there and right there. So I wasn't such a big fan of that. Now, if you have a 30-pin connector, and if you only have one Lightning connector, and if you want to use your existing 30-pin connector, and you don't want to have to pay $29 to get more Apple Lightning cables, there is an adapter. Of course, I showed you this in a previous video. There is the Lightning to 30-pin adapter, which I will post a website and in the description below, and a link to my video in case if you haven't seen this video. Now, what this adapter does, basically, I'll just review it. I'll just review it just a little bit. It allows you to use your existing 30-pin cables with this connector. So instead of buying more Lightning connectors, which cost $29 from Apple, you can instead just pay $29 for this piece of thing, and simply connect your 30-pin cable, and there you go. Now, I should note out there one more thing. If you have an Autovox case, like I do with my iPod Touch, it won't work, because obviously the Lightning connector cable unibody is basically sunken in just a little bit. And this case is bulky, so if you see from the side, just look at how much depth. Just look at how much depth is it through the outer case, all the way into the iPod Touch. So it won't work. If I try to, it's not. So it's basically can't reach it. really just pushing against this case. So if you want this adapter, and if you don't use a case, you could go for the option, or you could pay an extra $10 and get this Lightning to 30 pin adapter with a 0.2 millimeter cable extension on it. So that way, basically, so let me just give you just a little one more detail here. So if you buy that one, which costs $39, it's basically gonna look like this. Basically, gonna look like a Lightning connector with a 2-millimeter cable, and basically with this mounted on it. This piece basically mounted on it without this. So it's gonna look like that. So just give you an idea, and the cable is gonna be a little bit more bigger than this. I'm just giving you just a detail of what it might look like. So like this, it's gonna end up, and it will be like this. So I will post a link in the description below to buy both adapters. This one and the 0.2 millimeter one, and of course I will post a link. I will post a video link to this video, to this adapters review on my channel. And of course, I will post a link in the description below on how to get a Lightning connector. If you don't mind buying $29 Lightning connectors. So that's gonna do for me, guys, in this video. I will see you again. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again in the next one. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, and remember, please subscribe and comment. I'm doing my best to make as much videos as I can. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again in the next one. Connect it. And now, let's pull this. Yay! It's floating! Look at that! Oh my god! Did I just record that? No! Oh, man!